Sorry, got a text message. All right, so I got to do a few things before I get going here. A few things need to be done. Oh man, I got way too many tabs open. Holy shit. That's fine. Sometimes you gotta have 25 tabs open. Alright, so what I gotta do is I gotta restock the coffee supply because it's empty. Got the old 8 o'clock coffee here. Do I have an opinion on 8 o'clock? It's coffee. It's here. It's got caffeine in it. Checks most of my boxes. It's got a sticker that I'm struggling with. I can't do it. There we go. I don't think the whole container fits in my container. Is that part of coffee, like, that you have to have containers and you have to transfer? Is that the whole thing with coffee? Oh, why? Dude, the hats off to the glue manufacturer. I don't have the strength. What is it? What are they using? That has got to be the strongest. Are you kidding me? All right, demerits. I'm giving you demerits. 8 o'clock. My bag ripped upon opening. It smells pretty good though. Let's see if I can do this without making a disaster with my ripped bag. Now you don't want to fill this container too full, otherwise the lid won't go on. I've learned that in life through trials and errors. Whatever. I mean, you can cheap out on the glue a little bit, bud. It wouldn't hurt my feelings any. I keep my coffee in the freezer. Is that wrong? I feel like it is. I know you're supposed to eat it fast. You're not supposed to buy it in bulk, but like, sometimes in life you gotta buy coffee in bulk, I guess. For some reason, I feel like this is a 6-cup coffee day. So I made extra coffee, mainly because, or I put extra water in. It's mainly because I got that tall cup, and when I use tall cups, the coffee goes quicker. So we're gonna make that much. That seems like an appropriate amount. 1 second. Lid, check. Second lid, check. All the lids are checked. All the things are thinged. I reset my timer. How is it? Hour. I have to do that while I'm grinding beans. I should have waited till the top of the hour. I'm starting a little early today because I've been up for a while. That's pretty close right there. Oh, something's backing up out front. Who shows up on a Sunday? Today is Sunday, isn't it? Oh, I just dropped my coffee grinder. Looking at my watch. Jesus Christ, this is happening. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Launch! I need coffee. That's what my problem is. Who's showing up with a beeping ass backup beeper on a day like today? Hold on 1 second. I gotta go look out the window. What the hell's going on? Oh, it's a school bus. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The kids across the street ride a school bus on Sundays. I don't really understand what that's about. It's probably outside my pay grade to understand why children would take a school bus on a Sunday. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable reason for it. I just don't know what that would be. The world has changed since I was a child. Because, like, you got Sundays off from school. You even got Saturdays off, but somehow. All right, here's today's cup. Seems to be fairly true in general. was going to make hash browns, but I didn't feel like cleaning up after hash browns, so we're not doing hash browns. I don't know. I do have to clean that fucking thing. Pardon my French. I don't want to get banned. A guy I know that played video games got in trouble. He went to log in the other day, and the little computer screen said, "Your account's been suspended." And he's like, "Oh, what'd I do?" This dude plays 2 times a week, and like, I can't even describe how he is. He's a good player, but he's like to the point in the game where he's really only showing up to hang out with the people that are playing the game. He's not really there because he likes playing the game, and he doesn't like reading the chat in the zone. So if someone starts typing just a bunch of dumb shit, he just blocks them. The dude's blocked more people than I've even interacted with in my entire life. That's what's so hilarious. And then he got somehow banned. And everyone's just trying to figure it out. It's like, dude, he never talks in zone. He blocks everybody who just spouts nonsense. He may have typed a bad word in a conversation with other officers, and that might have got him banned by the artificial intelligence. And the dirty word may be a word that refers to a person whose intellectual capacities have been they're not full. They've been reduced, or their intellectual capacities have been retarded from the full capacities of an average individual. Is that a fair definition of? And he may have used it as an insult against himself. Can you believe that? He called himself the R word, and he got banned from a video game. Like, I'm just like, I don't even understand it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm against bullying. I'm against like intimidations, and I'm against all that shit in gaming because it's just stupid. And people do it, they get away with it, and I don't think they should. But like, if you're self-deprecating and you're insulting yourself, who are they protecting? Are they protecting? I don't understand. Like, I literally don't understand it. I cannot understand. I'm not able to make the mental understanding. Please help me understand. I cannot understand. Because like, if the idea is, oh, well, you shouldn't even bully yourself because bullying is, what's the word bullying is? Bullying is bad, and it's bad for your mental health. Well, what do you think banning someone from a game that they play every week does to a person's mental health? When the only person that they've insulted or bullied is themselves. Like, what's worse? Calling yourself a bad name? I mean, come on. Or being banned from a game for calling yourself a bad name. Like, it's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. And we were like all joking about how like, of all the upper management in that guild that we ever would thought we'd log in and be like, oh, they're banned for a little bit or they're on a suspension. It's like that, like, never would I guess that guy. Because he just doesn't participate in. So the people are like, well, maybe you got, there's a tactic where like people like mass report somebody to try to get them kicked out of the game. So like, well, maybe you got mass reported, and it's like, how does it work? Like, our guild doesn't really play that way. Like, we don't do the whole be a bunch of assholes. Like, we don't do that. That's the best part about that guild, is that we don't really run in asshole mode. I mean, we definitely run in murder mode, but we don't run in asshole mode. Like, we don't really like have enemies that we single out. And it's like, oh, there he is, get him. Like, it's I mean, if the dude's the dude, then he's the one that's getting taken out, but it's not because of his name, and you don't do it every time. Like, I've played with people that are that way, which is, I don't know, whatever. Supposedly you can get in trouble for like targeting an individual player or whatever. I don't really understand that, because like the whole point of the game is to like eliminate the enemy from the battlefield. So like, I don't know, whatever. I just Jesus Christ, I don't get it. And he's like, he's my emotional support player. So like, when he's not there, I don't know what to do, because like, as an upper management person, he doesn't have to do the stuff that all us peons have to do. So the joke is he doesn't run siege because he's he's an upper muckety muck. So I took on the role of running his siege for him. So I'm his official sieger. I mean, I just run my siege, but we just make a joke. It's like, oh yeah, he's running 2 pieces. He's doing great. So then it's like, well, who am I running siege for now? And when somebody else is like, well, you can run my siege, and it's just like, well, it's not the same, man. It's just not the same. I gotta get my monitor set up. I gotta get coffee meat right away. I've already been out like working in the yard today. Like, we'll tell the yard story. God almighty, the yard story. It's so fucking crazy. I turned the stove off. Why is that thing still smoking? What's happening right now? Alright, let's get some coffee in the old Elveshelves here. Got a big cup. Holds extra. Hopefully I can get 2 big cups of coffee out of that whole mystery pot there. Let me get a spoon rest. My days are starting to blur. That's not bad. Okay. Let me see if I can get the monitor up here. I'm gonna close some tabs out. You don't need to see what I'm shopping for. I'm shopping for my own purposes here, kids. All right, here we go. Ooh, today's episode. Oh, hey, what's up, Jeremy? Sorry I missed your comment. Didn't have my monitor up. Brought to you by Nespresso, which is oddly enough a coffee brand. Maybe I ought to give that a try. It sounds delicious. All right, there we are. So, the yard. Wow. So I started a series. This is a little bit of spoiler for the series because I haven't posted the video yet. I had to tear my yard out, like from the construction project. So I ripped the whole thing out with a skid loader, tore all the rocks out and everything, put it all back, put new grass seed down, and then like the weather was like, oh, we're gonna have a huge storm and it's gonna rain like a fucking 3 inches or some crazy shit over like a few hours. And I'm like, oh my God, like my front yard's a slope. The grass hasn't sprouted yet. It's all gonna wash away. Cause like when the incompetency crew showed up to incompetently work in my yard, there was lots of washouts. There was lots of mud in the street. There was lots of machinery cleaning mud. There was lots of disaster. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. It's going to happen to me. Let me get orange real quick. So I was having a panic attack about this rainstorm. So I just said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all my tarps out. Which, like, oddly enough, I own a lot of tarps. And, like, I own a lot of big ones. So I tarped the entire project with tarps and sheets of plastic. Weighed them down with concrete to protect the dirt from being eroded away. And like at 6 a.m. on a day, I can't remember what day it was. Probably like a Monday or something. I don't know, whatever. The storm comes flying through. It wakes me up because the wind's blowing so hard. It's downpouring so bad. It's thundering and lightning so bad. I look out the window and I can't really see my front yard because of the way the slope is. But I could see at the corner down by the mailbox and the tarp was flapping. It was loose. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go put a piece of wood on that. I grabbed I threw shorts on, put my Crocs on, put a raincoat on because it's just downpouring. I was like, I'm just going to run down there, put this firewood chunks on that tarp. It'll be fine. I go do that. I walk around the corner and I proceed to see. Maybe I might have already told this story. I don't even remember what day it happened. It's been like, oh, whatever. The street was covered by the tarp. It was insane. The water was crazy. I fought the tarp for an hour and a half. Just about did myself in. Finally got it back covered. Ended up saving the day. The yard did not get destroyed. It was a moment of celebration. Fast forward a couple more days. The weather's always changing, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh no, bad news! We got a storm coming through." At just past midnight, we're gonna get like, God. At first it was like 3/4 of an inch, and I was like, "Oh, I'll be fine." And it was like an inch, and it was like, "Oh, an inch and a half." And like at one point, I think they were saying we're gonna get like 2 inches of rain in 1 hour. Like this deluge was coming. I'm like, dude, what is happening? Like the grass still hasn't sprouted. The tarps are like. I spent like, it took me like 2 days to clean the tarps up and put them away because they're gigantic tarps coated in mud and everything. And I was like, I'm gonna have to retarp the thing, and I was gonna retarp it, and then like the weather's like, oh yeah, no, and including this giant rainstorm it's a thunderstorm line coming through, and there's gonna be up to 80-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing the fight a tarp in a windstorm, lightning storm thing again. I just said screw it. If the rain comes and washes my yard out, then it's just going to wash it out. I just can't do it. I can't fight a 40-foot tarp in an 80-mile-an-hour windstorm again. Like, it didn't happen. I mean, honest to Christ, that tarp battle I had was one of the craziest fucking things I've ever done in my entire life. Because it was all on a slope that I couldn't walk on because I could walk on part of it. The part that hadn't been exposed was still dry underneath. You could walk, but the rest was just slop mud. You couldn't walk on it. So like, I had to go get rope and rig rope to the tarps from the bottom of the hill. Flick the rope, throw it over the mud hole, walk around, grab the ropes, lug it up. Tarps underwater, water's heavy tarps, concrete on tarps. Like the whole thing was just crazy. It was the craziest thing ever. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of that because it was just like unreal. So I just said screw it. Didn't tarp it. The storm came through. We ended up getting 1.25 inches of rain. But I'd put grass clippings down on top of my dirt, which some of it got removed because of the nature of the tarps being on there, but there's still a pretty good amount. So between the grass clippings, interlacing, and I think my grass seed at that point had been down for about a week. It had started to germinate. I think it had little roots that were kind of holding in a little bit. The combination of the grass seed and the baby roots and all that, the yard survived, and I woke up the next morning and I had grass poking up out of the ground like that tall. Baby grasses. So, life is good. The grass germinated, at least the one variety. I bought 3 varieties of grass. One was a fast germinating grass. One was I don't know, I bought 3 kinds. I just figured if I plant 3 kinds of grass, something has to survive, right? Like I wanted the fast germinate. It was like called a lawn establisher, where it's just supposed to grow quite quick. The other one's like a nicer yard, and the other one's like a little bit more drought tolerant. And I figure, well, with the 3, I don't really care what it looks like because I'm not that kind of person. Like, ugh. Hey, person who doesn't live at my house, what do you think of the way my lawn looks? Like, I could really care less what someone who doesn't live here thinks about the way my lawn looks. Like, come on. There's too many people with too much money and not enough shit to do, I think, honestly. I feel like this is going to be maybe too hot, but that's fine. We're just going to start cooking eggs here. Let the eggs begin! Cooking of the breakfast ritual has begun. My spatula is incorrect. I don't know where my good spatula is. Jackpot. Is it clean? Yeah, it's clean enough. Got the flexy one. I like the flex. So yeah, it's fun. Just like I don't know what I thought fixing my yard was going to be like, but it was not anything like what I've been doing. I just thought it would be easy. This has not been easy. It's way harder than I thought it would be. It's because of the slope. The bank situation out there is just too complicated. It makes everything so much harder. The access, just like, I mean, whatever. Enough of my crybaby problems. So I'm trying to think what else is going on. There's always something new. Started a series about guitar repair tools, so that's not that great, but that's what I'm doing. Toying with the idea of maybe at some point, quote unquote, when I say build a guitar, I mean like buy parts and assemble a guitar would be fun. The biggest problem with that is like they make guitars so affordable now that like I don't know, it's like almost not even worth it to build your own because like it's just whatever. Oh wait, I should have some heat in there, shouldn't I? Let's get it played out. Let's play this up. So I got some cheese here, some Gouda. You ever eat the Gouda? Gouda. I think what else I've been doing. Brought a load of rock in. Try to clean the driveway up a little bit. I don't know what to think about it. I mean, I realize everything's expensive now, but man, it's getting so crazy. It's getting so crazy. Like I used to go to like the, I don't know what you even call it, the ready mix plant. I would buy limestone from them because they used to put limestone in the concrete. But they don't do that anymore because limestone's too goddamn expensive. Apparently, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I went down and bought stone, and stone now costs $55.50 a ton. And, like, my trailer is loaded, or is rated to carry, like, not quite 2.5 tons. So you aim for 2 tons. If you overshoot 2 tons, then you're within the safety zone. Well, 2 tons of rock at $55.50 a ton, you're at over $100. It's just like, when did that? When did a dump trailer of rock cost $100? Like, I don't even understand it. And I went after the rain, and the rocks were probably wet. And I don't know how much wet rocks weigh more than not wet rocks, but like at some point you can't just keep splitting hairs. You just got to get shit done. So I told him, I was like, yo, I'm looking for about 2 tons of rock. No big deal. I got a rough idea what that looks like. A little shit in my trailer before. And the guy, you know, he's a professional. He scoops some rocks with his machine. He dumps them in, and I'm just like, that's fine. Like it looked like he, whoops, toaster. It looked like the rocks were like, it looked like he didn't put enough in, but I wasn't gonna like make the guy go get another scoop because it was just like, whatever, dude. I'm just like putting some rocks in the driveway. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna get all worked up over it. Turns out, no, he nailed it. He put more than 2 tons in there. Like, oh my god, that doesn't even look like enough. Like, don't get me wrong, I could have probably put in the area I covered with this rock, I probably could have put 4 tons of rocks down, and it wouldn't have been like, wow, you got so many rocks, dude. Like, oh, whatever. Like I thought I was joking when I said they put about $10,000 worth of rock in my yard. That's probably true. There's probably about $10,000 worth of rocks in my fucking yard. To the point where it almost been worth to rent a soil sifter. Because of the value in the rocks. Whatever. I don't know how the world's going to continue. I really don't. I mean, I joke about rocks being expensive, but like, it's not so much the rock that's expensive. It's the fact that the machine that like has to carry the rock. It's expensive to like fuel the machine, and it's expensive for the guy who has to maintain the machine. And it's expensive for the guy who buys the rock because he has to store the rock and he has to like move the rock. I'm trying to figure out the guy where the rocks come from. If that guy's making any money. I think it's all going to. It's all the. I don't know what you call it. Not the infrastructure, but like the cost of transportation. I'm sure is what it is. So one time I contacted I think it was like the last time it was when I stopped buying limestone. I called my limestone guy, and he told me how expensive it was, and I about shit myself. And I was like, dude, what's going on? Why is it so expensive? And he was like, oh, at the time, this was years ago. It was like there was a train bridge that went out up the way. And he was like, that's how we get our rock is via train car. And he said, now that we can't get it through train car, we have to truck it in. And he said, that's the cost of trucking as opposed to train cars. And that's when they stopped putting in it, like, whatever, they just stopped doing it. I mean, I've heard of people having regrets in life, like, oh, I should have bought Apple stock, or I should have bought Tesla stock, or whatever. You think, it's like, dude, I should have bought more rocks. Is that a thing? I should have bought, like 20 years ago, I should have bought $100 worth of rocks, apparently, because $100 worth of rocks 20 years ago was a lot of goddamn rocks, because nowadays it's nothing. Like, what is happening? Like, to the point where, like, when I'm walking around town now, I'm looking down to the ground looking for a rock. I'm like, ooh, there's a rock right there. I could probably pick that up. If I could get one rock a day back, I get 365 rocks added to my driveway. That's damn near a supersized McDonald's dinner right there. It's 365 rocks. I knew a person who lived near the ocean. And every time they and their family would go to the beach, which was just mere blocks away, they would pick up a couple rocks from the beach, and they would bring them home and toss them in their flower beds, and that's how they landscaped their house, was via rocks from the beach. And I always thought that was like top notch. I like that. I was like, what else did I see today? It just blew my mind. So there's like a local, well, it's not really local, but there's a chain of home improvement. It's not really home improvement. It's like a garden store where they sell plants, but they also sell like patio stuff and like outdoor decorations. And they sent me a coupon. It's like, hey, here's $10 to come shop at our store. And like, I can't help myself. If you give me $10, I'm coming to shop at your store. I'm gonna buy whatever costs about $10 too, because I don't really need much shit in life. So what do you got for $10? Turns out I need mulch, so I got some mulch. Any hoosies. I'll walk around your store and look, and I see something cool maybe, but like I'm walking around and it's like they have these rock art sculptures, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. It's like a rod and a rock, and then like rocks with holes drilled in them, and like in a loop circle thing. I was like, oh, those are kind of neat. I wonder what those cost. It was like $300 for like some rocks on a wire. I'm like, oh god, all right. Well, that wasn't even like the expensive thing. And then I saw a patio furniture set, and I was like, that's kind of nice. Like, it looks like it's made of wood, but it's not. It's made of like recycled plastic, so like it should last. I would think. Maybe the plastic fades or degrades. I have no idea. It It was like $5,000 for like a table and like some chairs, like Adirondack style. Is that style, like wood plank style? And I was just like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've spent some stupid money on some patio furniture, cushion stuff in my life. Trust me, I have. But it wasn't like $5,000. I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna judge anybody. You do whatever you want in life, but it's just like, oh, Jesus. But it's like, how many years until like $5,000 for patio furniture? You're gonna think to yourself, man, I should have bought 6 of those. Like, how the hell is it gonna work? Like, I think about my grandparents and what it costs for them to be old and like do the assisted living and all that shit, and it was so fucking expensive. And that was years ago, before shit got expensive. And it's like, what's it going to be like in like 20, 30 years? Like, how many millions of dollars are you going to have just to get old? I don't understand it. I really don't. As long as I can afford coffee, right? I feel like stockpiling on like all the shit that like all the inorganic stuff that I might need in the future. I need to buy now. I feel like, because it's just going to be so crazy. Like, do I need to get? Like, should I buy a walker? Because like a walker in 30 years is probably going to cost fucking $10,000 fucking dollars for a walker. Like, do I need to get a walker now while they're affordable? Like, whatever. Like, I've been watching some videos on like used stuff and gear and things, and it's starting to look like the reality of the way shit works is starting to show up in the pricing of stuff, because like everybody's getting pitched so hard, people are starting to like get rid of their shit, but the problem they got is everybody's pinched so hard that there's no, we call it a buyer's market, I guess. It's when like everyone's disposable income is already predisposed for something else, and like your little accoutrements on the edges, you're not going to be getting top dollar for your shit anymore. It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but I got some stuff coming up on the channel for guitar stuff. And at first I was like, I can't believe how great of a deal I'm getting on this shit. Then I just started realizing that like I may have overpaid, because the deals are probably going to be getting better here pretty quick, because it's just the way it goes. Excuse me, I'm allergic to the internet. My nose always runs. I mean, whatever. I'm still truly baffled by the whole guitar thing. I'm baffled by the luxury guitar market. Let's put it that way. Like, all markets have like a luxury version of them, right? I mean, everything. And some of the stuff makes sense to me, and some of it doesn't. Like a luxury boat, right? So like a cheap boat's got like a rowboat, an old beat up rowboat, versus like a yacht. They're all boats. A very expensive yacht is much different than a rowboat. Vastly. To the point where they're not even really comparable as similar items. I mean, they float on water, right? They hold at least a person. But other things, I don't understand, like clothing, for example. Like, I don't understand it's all like cotton can only be so fancy, right? And at some point, your cotton's so fancy, it doesn't get any fancier. But what's the difference between regular cotton and super fancy cotton? I mean, what are you gonna do? Bed sheets? The thread count? Okay. Well, how fancy can it get? Now, some clothing, like technical clothing, where there's like special processes involved for like windproofing and weather tiding, I understand how that could be more expensive than like regular clothing, but like at some point, once again, how expensive can the waterproofing get? It's a process of manufacturing. Then after that, it's just imagination. It's branding. It's just pretend. And I look at the guitar stuff and like I get there's always going to be a better version of all components. I understand that. But how much more expensive is it to make? I mean, what part are we going to talk about? A potentiometer. Okay. If money's no object and you can buy the best potentiometer on the planet, how expensive can it get? As opposed to a good potentiometer, not the best. As opposed to an average potentiometer, as opposed to a decent one or a garbage one or a shitty one. I don't understand, man. I mean, a piece of wood. Wood grows from a tree. Tree grows in the forest. Are there different qualities of wood? Obviously. But the best piece of wood versus a rotten piece of garbage, rotten garbage is worth nothing. An average piece, and then the highest end, how much more can it be? I mean, typically with raw wood, especially unfinished wood, it's just like the rarity of the wood can affect the price. But it's not like the difference between a diamond and a pebble. I mean, I don't know, whatever. it just blows my mind. I'm trying to think what I saw the other day that was like, I don't know. It's like way with everything. But I guess that's how the economy works, right? If the label on your widget didn't count for something, then who would care? I guess it's called marketing. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like some of the stuff, the marketing value is just so extreme. Like one of the craziest things I've been seeing, and I don't know how long this trend's been out for. It's obviously been out for a while. And this is my stupid interpretation of how the world works. It seems like at some point along the line, and obviously I'm talking about guitars because I'm currently obsessed on guitars. Let me turn this camera around for a second. Hold on. Wait, you look at my cabinets? I'm currently obsessed on guitars. So like at some point, like rarity comes into effect in the thing, because that's how a lot of stuff works. Well, that's how it used to be, like before everything was mass produced. Let me raise this up. Like extremely valuable things were valuable because they were either very expensive to produce because of the amount of labor involved, manpower, man time, or works, whatever, or the rarity. So like, for example, like a meteorite would be valuable because there's not a lot of meteorites on the ground, you know? Chicken's teeth, for example, would be very valuable because chickens don't have teeth. And if you found a chicken tooth, it'd be rare and it would be valuable. Well, that's all changed in the modern world, where valuable stuff now can be valuable because someone just decided it's valuable. Like I proclaim this to be valuable for two reasons. One, just because it is, or because I'm limiting the production, thus making it rare, and then it's valuable. Or they were made in a limited run, and now there's no more being made, thus making it valuable. So what happened is a bunch of old guitars were made, and over time, guitars, they get broken and get worn out or whatever. And because time's gone by, the available amount of guitars from that era are just, it's lessened. There's just less of them. And in normal thinking, you would say it's like, you could do this with anything. Like, for example, a vintage car. An old vintage car with low miles and in good condition is worth far more than an old vintage car with high miles and that's all beat up, right? It's just the way it works. Because people want nice things, they'll pay more. Well, somehow in the guitar world, because of the lack of available units of old guitars, they decided that low mileage, good condition old guitars weren't going to be the only things of high value. Somehow they convinced people that old beat up guitars are just as valuable. I think it came from it must have been some famous guitar, but you ever seen Willie Nelson's guitar? The thing is beat to shit. That guitar is probably worth, I don't know, I'll just throw a number, $10 million or something. I have no idea. Extremely valuable because there's only one of them. It's worn the shit out. It was played by Willie Nelson, and if you want it, you can only get one. If it was even for sale, it's just going to be one. There's just one of them. But yet, but there's only so many old worn out guitars. So they started making what they call reissues, where they went back and they built these guitars to the same standards or the same specs as the old vintage guitars, the old ones. And then they wore them out for you. They'll wear them out. They call it relicking, and they'll make it look old. And it's just my brain just hurts. It's right up there with buying jeans with holes in them. It's just buy a pair of jeans and wear them. Trust me, you're gonna get holes in your jeans. Here, I'll show you. God, I'm gonna show my dirty ass floor. Here, I'll show you what happens. Get yourself a pair of jeans, put them on, and wear them, and eventually you're gonna get them to look like this. See that? That's what old jeans do when you wear them long enough. You just get holes in them. You don't have to buy them that way. Please don't buy jeans with holes in them. Don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Just wear your jeans. Eventually you'll get holes in them. And then if you like the look of holes in your jeans, you can just wear your worn out jeans with holes in them. Don't buy pre-worn out. But anyways, they did that with guitars. Relic. Oh, it's dude, what are you? Yeah, it's a whole thing, and it just makes my brain hurt. It's ooh, look at these tuners. They did a good job relicking these tuners. It's wait, what? They took brand new, perfectly good tuners and they ruined them? Oh man, nice. That's cool. They made them shitty? Great. Because I got news for you. If that guitar lasts long enough, guess what's gonna happen to those tuners? They're gonna get old and shitty. Just my brain. I get it. I mean, there's more than one way to do everything. I totally understand that, but it just makes my brain hurt. Sorry, I'm filming all my dirty shit here. God almighty. Whatever. So yeah, a relic guitar is a thing. Whatever. I mean, I got a relic Chevy pickup truck. Is anybody interested in a relic Chevy pickup truck? It's got the perfect amount of dents and fucking rust in it. Make it worth twice as much. I mean, rare as hen's teeth. So anywho's, and I get people gotta make money, they gotta stay employed, all that shit, but I always having a casual conversation with one of my buddies the other day, and he's got a really nice guitar. He's doing a project with it, and I don't know that much about guitars, but I know that the brand that he's got is it's a well-known brand of guitar, and he's I mean, it's his life. Do what you want, and if you watch this, do what you want. But it makes me oh, he's gonna chop the thing up, and oh, I just. But in my mind, it's dude, that's an expensive guitar. But I guess in the reality of that brand, they make really expensive guitars, and they make good guitars. I don't even know if they make bad guitars. I don't even know if that company does that. But as far as I know, he's got a good guitar. He's oh man. We just started shooting the shit about it, and there's a chance, I don't know for a fact that, like, there's a chance that Harley Benton I got came from the same factory that where his expensive guitar came from. Like, we were looking at the guts inside my guitar. It was the same guts, like the same pots. Well, actually, what's kind of crazy is, like, of the two Harleys I have, one's a higher end guitar and one's a lower end. And the pots in my lower end were the exact same pots as his fancy guitar. And I'm pretty sure my other guitar has nicer pots because it's a nicer guitar, which is like blows my mind. It's like, what? Like, I mean, the difference is probably negligible. Jeez, I can't even speak right now. Oh, whatever. It doesn't even matter. It's just wild to me. I guess you gotta stop watching so many guitar videos, I guess, because I keep watching these videos of these, like, super crazy, high-end, just, like, $30,000 guitar. I'm just like, I guess. I mean, I guess if you got so much money, you gotta spend it on something. I guess everybody's gotta have something. I mean, there's always gonna be an extreme on everything. It's just, like, with clothing and guitars, there's, like, only so many parts. That's what I don't get. Like a high-end dirty butter knife. Like, how fancy can you make a butter knife? You could change the materials. You could make it out of pure gold. And then, it'd be the weight of the gold. And then you'd have extra added for fanciness. I mean, is this a fancy, like... Is this more fancy or less fancy than like a silverware that's sold at Walmart that's stamped out of a machine in China? I mean, the process is a little different. It's a hollow body handle, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But like, I'd be hard pressed to try to get $1,000 for this thing. $1,000 knife. Like, I don't know, buddy. Like, I don't think it's $1,000 knife. Oh yeah, no, it's from the '60s. It's old, rare. It's like, well, an old rare is not worth $1,000. Maybe $10. I think that's what those knives are worth, like $10, $8, something like that, which is a lot for a knife. Trust me, I've shopped knives. Whatever. I guess it's what the market will bear. Is that how it works? The struggle is real. I mean, the more I think about it, it's like everything. Like, even like carbonated sugar water. There's like, there's this brand. Pay premium for that. Well, what kind of sugar are they using? Here, hold on a second. I got an off-brand here. It's a root beer though. So we got an off-brand. We got a Shasta. Let's look at the difference. It'll be easier to read. We got Mellow Yellow. That's a name brand. Mellow Yellow is made by the Coca-Cola company, I believe. All right. So you go to the ingredients. First ingredient, carbonated water on this one. First ingredient, carbonated water. So they're both carbonated water. So I don't know what kind of gas. They got better gas or better water. I don't know. Next ingredient. Ready? Here we go. High fructose corn syrup. Next one, high fructose corn syrup. So maybe this corn syrup came from the side of the cornfield that got a little more sun than this corn syrup, but somehow I really doubt it. It's probably coming in a big bulk bucket of just corn syrup. Next, caramel color. So this one here doesn't go color, it goes... This actually has orange juice in it. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, this is just basically sugar, water, and flavors. But same thing here. So it's like, what's the difference in price here? They're both aluminum cans. They're both similarly built. They both hold the same amount. I mean, this is root beer. There's no caffeine, but like, at some point, the difference in price is the word in the printing on the can. I mean, there's not that much. Now, there's the subjective, like, oh, it tastes better. Tastes better. Well, yeah, it might. I mean, I'm not denying that. Also might taste worse. Depends what you like. We did the Coke challenge one time where we bought all the colas we could find, and then it was kind of funny. we labeled it all up, and then like through no fault of anybody's, the labels got mixed up. We could never really figure it out, but we tried. And there's definitely different flavors. Like they all taste different. Like Coke tastes different than Pepsi. Pepsi tastes different than RC. RC tastes different than Shasta. But it's like, but which one tastes best? It's like, well, we got a split beer here. It's up to the individual to decide that. I mean, obviously, the one that costs more probably tastes best, right? I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's how everything that costs more is better. Trust me. Whatever. Speaking of the best, try these Albany's gummy bears. God, they're so good. They are so good. They smell good. Smell like a gummy bear factory. Oh, whatever. I don't know. My buddy's got a really nice guitar. Hopefully he'll bring it over and I can play it compared to that yellow guitar I got. It's a homage to, so I can actually see the difference between the original, like how much better is a multi-$1,000 guitar than a $250 guitar. And God, I hope it's $1,000 worth better. I hope it is, because if it's not, I definitely won't understand. I need to clean trees up today. A bunch of trees fell out of the tops of the trees when the trees were blowing in the wind the other day. Trees everywhere. Like, apparently I had an apple tree in the side yard that died years ago. I didn't really realize that. It fell over. I gotta clean that goddamn thing up. I don't like. I kind of feel like sitting in a chair doing nothing today. That's what I feel like doing. But can't do that. All right. Well, this stream was underwhelming. I'm sure people got shit going on. If you came and you saw, I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. If you caught the re-upload, almost as good. Can't make any promises about the content. Stay tuned. Got some interesting things coming. Some uninteresting things. I got a lot of videos shot. My phone is full. I gotta start uploading more videos. I'm probably gonna actually upload one here shortly just to free up a spot because some of us are here. Well, I appreciate that. But yeah, I do a little yard work. Someone's got to do the yard work around here. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace. Stay safe.